Good morning, everybody. It's good to have you here. Coming up on the Sweat, we're going to rank the top 10 fantasy quarterbacks ahead of the 2022 season. I'm not going to do it. Julian's going to do it, and Pierce is going to do it. Plus, we have the best bets ahead of the B&W Championship. Jason Sobel is here for that. Oh, it's America's favorite game when I pull a baseball game, when I pull a name out of a hat. It's What's in the Hat with Stephen Gare. Oh my God, and Jared Carrabba sitting feet away from me. Yeah, Samir, rotate on over there. This man threw a pitch. He threw a baseball on Sunday night, so he's going to react to that. And I know he's taking joy out of the Yankees' recent collapse. So the Sweat starts right now. All right, the pressure was on. The eyes of the world were watching Jared Carrabba throwing out the first pitch Sunday night ahead of Red Sox Yankees. He says, "What is my life?" We're showing you a tweet because Jake, your producer, was too lazy to send us video of your first pitch. So Jake, strike like 11 there, buddy. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks
Tuesday for having me. Takeoff segment, a tradition unlike any other. Right. What did you hit on the radar gun there, by the way?
It was like 96. Had a little bit of sink to it, a little movement, a little late life. I tried to take something off of it. You know, I said I was going to take something off of it because I wasn't going full windup. Yeah. All the warm-up pitches that I throw, the first like 250 warm-up pitches that I threw, it was all on flat ground. So the first pitch that I threw on an actual mound was the first pitch. So it's very different throwing off a mound compared 100%. To throwing flat ground.
Yeah.
So there was, even though I felt loose and I felt calm and I was warm, it didn't matter because that first pitch was off a mound and I just didn't have the chance to warm up.
You were so fired up after that. Like you let out just this manly, beefy scream.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you want to know why?
Yeah, I do. Please tell me.
Really nervous. I was like,
you were nervous.
Like, well,
because remember last week you're like, here's my hand, I'm not shaking.
I wasn't nervous at the time, but then I was just like, all right, if I mess this up, like the players were coming out as I was warming up, and they were like, if you hop this, like you're not allowed back in the dugout ever again. Like you're not, like you'll lose all of our respect. Yeah. Like we don't want you around anymore. If
and Alex Cora catching, like you ended up getting your #1 pick.
I got my binky. Like that's the ball girl. I'm friends with her, so I had like an emotional support ball girl out there with me. It was a whole thing.
It's like a puppy.
Yeah. I needed all the stars to align, and they did.
Yeah,
they did.
I love some of the Yankees fans, like in the replies. I woke up this morning to like our group chat with Samir and Billy, and Billy had pointed out one of the Yankees fans was like, "I hope you need Tommy John surgery after this performance, but you appear to be fine."
I'm fine. So if you watch the video back, which we don't have,
again, Jake, blame
come on,
Jake.
We need the video.
Seriously, he told our people yesterday he would send the video over at 10:30. Producer Slates comes in and says, "We don't have the video. We got to settle on this picture. Tweet, your boring tweet."
No, that was a great tweet.
Yeah, it's a solid tweet.
It's a good tweet.
You have good pictures.
It's a good picture. They're great pictures. What was I saying before that?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me this?
Okay.
Where does this rank among ballpark experience that you've had in your entire life? So you can compare it to when you were a kid, probably at the '99 All-Star game, any other like Red Sox experiences that you've had. This has to be up there, dude.
It's definitely up there, but like I've been at.
I know.
I've seen a couple World Series clinchers. I saw them win in 13. I saw them win in 18. We did the parade.
You were on a duck boat for that, which is sick.
I was on a duck boat. I was at the Roberts stolen base game. But I mean, like, this was pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is cool.
This is like a different, it's almost like a 1A, 1B type tier because everything else was things that like you were at but weren't experiencing and doing. Yes. Yeah. This you were a part of it. Like you were part of the game, man. Like, would anything even top this?
The parade definitely still tops it. The parade tops it. But this is like this is a solid number 2. Yeah. Because like leading up to it, I was just like, I was dreading it. Because it was too much to lose. Like the risk versus reward was not worth it. Like, what did I get out of like throwing a strike versus like what would I have lost if I didn't?
And Red Sox fans were talking about this for an entire week.
Yeah,
Like
the
it didn't matter what
players were talking
Yes.
when I showed up to the yard, the players were talking about that more than it was like, hey, Red Sox Yankees Sunday Night Baseball, like this is a pretty big deal, right? They're like, yeah, but like you're throwing the first pitch and you better not screw this up. So.
I mean, the baseball gods were hard at work here. And producer Slate's pointing this out because on June 28th, so
Yeah.
Michael Walker, right? He's injured in a loss to the Blue Jays. The Sox go 14-26 until his return on Sunday night against the Yankees. And that's minutes after you throw gas here off the same mound. He goes 7 scoreless in that win against New York. Were you the spark the Red Sox needed to go on a run here in the dog days of August?
Yeah. Yeah,
How-
it was.
And you take a lot of pride in that, don't you?
You know what? Let me tell you
You're
something.
the anchor.
Not just about throwing the first pitch. Did you see what I did? I spray painted the rubber. I basically placed a curse on that mound because not just talking about Michael Wacha and the June 28th connection. Can we talk about Jamison Taillon?
All right, but it
Mortal enemy.
it wasn't a
Mortal
terrible
enemy.
It wasn't a terrible
Did he
performance by
lose?
him.
Did
though.
he lose?
He did lose, but it was
Is
only,
he the reason why the Yankees lost that game? Yes. Look at the box score. Whose name has the L next to it? Jamison Taillon. Who got taken deep by Rafael Devers? Jamison Taillon.
the Yankees are 2-10 since the trade deadline and spiraling right now. Like, how much trouble are these guys in?
A lot. Because we're not just talking about since the trade deadline. We're talking about since June 24th.
Yeah.
I think there were 6 games under 500.
What's their problem?
They're not good. They're not good at baseball. It's a very simple equation. I don't know what, like, if you're expecting like a statistical breakdown or some sort of analysis.
Yeah.
I mean, losing Michael King was big. Clay Holmes was their lockdown closer in the first half of the season. No longer a lockdown closer. Aroldis Chapman's been great during that same time, but they've never been great at the same time. When Chapman started to suck, that's when Clay Holmes emerged onto the scene. Then Clay Holmes started to suck, and now Chapman's back. And then you just lost Michael King. So their bullpen was a great strength of theirs for a long time. No longer is. They haven't scored a run in 18 innings. I mean, I feel like that would help to score a run,
Yeah.
like a singular run.
And this was the most dangerous offense for the longest time, it felt like.
Yeah, my friend Aaron Judge can't do this on his own. My MVP, one of my close, best personal friends, Aaron Judge, get this guy some help. Aaron Judge is the Shohei Ohtani of the East Coast. He's stuck on a team with a bunch of losers, a bunch of no-talent ass clowns like the New York Yankees. That's why Aaron Judge is not a real Yankee, by the way. That's my hot take.
He's a future member of the Red Sox.
Yeah, like he's probably going to end up in Boston or somewhere else. Aaron Judge is a guy that is doing everything that he can to get the Yankees to the postseason. I don't know if they're going to get there, Emerson. They might not even make the playoffs at this point.
Okay. I mean, that would be an epic collapse.
Sure would.
Which, you've seen your Red Sox do something similar before. But through July 8th, the Yankees only needed to go 39-39 here to win 100 games this season. That felt like a slam dunk at the time. Right now, they need to go 28-19 the rest of the way to go exactly 162. Are you confident they can
No.
do that right now? It doesn't feel like it.
No, this team stinks. I think Aaron Judge is going to continue to put on an MVP performance because that's what he does. I mean, me and Aaron are two guys that when all the pressure is on us, we just perform, we just succeed, and we deliver for the fans. But at the end of the day, his teammates are not doing the same for him. Like, you have guys, I mean, Garrett Cole, he pitched well last night, quality start, didn't matter. You still lose that game anyway. Sloppy defense from Aaron Hicks. They traded for a center fielder. Aaron Hicks is atrocious out there. They traded for a center fielder in Harrison Bader who can't even play baseball. The Yankees are doing this themselves. One of their greatest weaknesses was, we need some help in the rotation because we just lost Luis Severino. Let's trade Jordan Montgomery to the Cardinals. Oh, what are we getting back? A guy that can't play baseball. That actually happened.
The dugout meltdown, too, by Anthony Rizzo. Like, this is getting to these guys right now. Their struggles. Mm-hmm. All right, well, while we're on the topic of sadness and sorrow and regret, last Friday, Fernando Tatis Jr. suspended 80 games for a performance-enhancing drug. Mm-hmm. What is your level of disappointment in a man you once called the face of baseball?
It's 1,000. I did call him the face of baseball. I think he had a golden opportunity to be like this generation's Ken Griffey Jr.
For sure.
He made baseball cool again. You know, like I feel like baseball got like it's boring.
Yeah,
and
different
then-
level of swagger with that guy
Yeah,
when he's on.
there was that era where you weren't allowed to celebrate. Like I think about in I think it was 2013, Jose Fernandez hit his first career home run as a pitcher, and then you get the guys in the Braves were like getting in his face and yelling at him. Now you have a guy like Tatis, who's hitting all kinds of home runs and he's pimping them and slam Diego and he's hitting grand slams on 3-0 counts and whatever. He's got the hair, he's got the shades. That's why I'm disappointed. I'm not a Padres fan. I'm a Tatis fan. I got the chance to meet him last year. I interviewed him. I talked to him about all of these things and said it without saying it. Like, you have a huge responsibility here to take the game of baseball into this younger generation and show them why it's so fun and why it can be cool. I still think he can do that. It's just
he's got to grow up though, dude. If he
big
does.
time. Big time. Like, this is not an isolated incident of Fernando Tatis Jr. making an immature decision or doing something that the central message here is it's about me. It's not about the team. It's not about the league. It's about me. And that's just not going to fly in the future.
His dad's blaming a bad haircut for the accidental steroid use. His dad also says now millions of people will stop watching baseball because his son was treated unfairly by Major League Baseball. Do you agree with that?
I don't.
There are dozens of us. Dozens.
Yeah, I don't think that anyone's gonna be like, wow, I can't believe they did Tatis like that. I no longer watch Major League Baseball. That's not happening. It was actually pretty eye-opening how many players in the Padres were like, well, we didn't have them all year. We got to where we are with the guys that are in the room right now, so we're all set. I mean, even his teammates are kind of like fed up with him at this point.
Absolutely. Front office, manager, everybody.
It's not a good spot for him to be in, and I think for the guys in the room to have essentially said, we're good. Like, we don't need you here. That means that this is not the first time that they've been frustrated with him.
Yeah, can I ask you something? Because I saw some comments from David Ortiz, too, and I know you guys are close. David Ortiz says, I think that they have not handled this situation the right way, talking about Major League Baseball. We can't kill our product. We're talking about an amazing player here. Like, to me, these are some confusing comments because Tatis' suspension here was handled in the same manner that, like, most drug suspensions in recent years have been handled, like a short press release by MLB. So what's David Ortiz talking about here?
No idea. Yeah, I have no idea.
Aren't they confusing, though?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, is he trying to say, like, hey, I know that he tested positive, but, like,
do we not announce it? Just say he's gone for, through 30 games next year?
Right, let's just say, like, the surgery didn't go well. And, I don't know what he's talking about, but I don't think that just because of your star power, you deserve some sort of preferential treatment.
Okay, let's get your hot take for this week then. What is it going to be? This is why we call this segment the takeoff. Bikes have not been banned, just going back to last week.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know, but what's this week, dude? Let's go. Let's go. Say it.
Baseball's an easy game.
What?
It's an easy game.
It's just because it was easy for you to throw the first pitch?
Yes, it's an easy game. You go out there, and I don't know why people talk about how, there's so much pressure to perform, and like guys are taking steroids now to come back because they want to play better. Do you know how easy it is to go out there and just deal? Like, what are we talking about here? The pressure, really? That was one of the easiest things I've ever done in my life.
All right, if baseball's so easy, I mean, why are the Red Sox, like a handful of games out of
they've had injuries. They've had injuries.
So is the injuries the only thing that can make baseball not easy?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you're clearly healthy, which is why you went out there and performed.
I couldn't be healthier right now. Like, I'm in full health. I got a rubber arm. I told you, I threw like 250 practice pitches yesterday.
The Angels make it look pretty hard, though.
The Angels are not good at baseball, by the way. That was
okay.
It's always this. So it was a great pitching matchup. You have Shohei Ohtani versus Luis Castillo, the deadline acquisition of the Seattle Mariners. It's 2-2. Both starters come out. It's 2-2. You go into the ninth inning of this game, And the Angels forget how to play baseball. They don't know what they're doing. And it's not like they've already fired Joe Madden. They got Phil Nevin in there, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna turn a new leaf, and we're gonna go back. What does that mean? We're gonna go back to playing Angels baseball. What does that mean?
It means just continuing to miss the playoffs with two of the best players on planet Earth. I don't know, man. That team pisses me off.
Yeah.
You make podcasting seem pretty easy.
Yeah.
What's cooking on the podcast this week?
Yeah,
Hook me up.
there was one of our. Do you remember Coley?
I remember Coley.
Yeah.
Are you bringing him back for a little bit?
Yeah, he came on the last podcast.
I know that it was a test to make sure you remember that because I listened to every episode.
You listen to every episode. Yeah, we had Coley Mick on the new Name Redacted podcast. It was a really intense breakdown of the Fernando Tatis Jr. Steroid thing because that's my guy. I'm disappointed.
I think his dad needs to stop talking.
So that was the one thing I literally just sent that quote to the group text because his mom. Did you see what his mom did?
No, his mom's talking now?
No. She was first.
Oh, okay.
She put out a picture of the ringworm because he originally said, like, I have ringworm, so I took this thing to help my ringworm, but it was, whoops, it was steroids. And we were like, well, we haven't heard from his dad. Like, maybe his dad is like, hey, you're embarrassing, like, the family name or whatever. Not the case. He's like, nope, my son, you're costing this league millions and millions of dollars because no one's going to watch because of my son.
I just think like ringworm, like,
It's a ride or die family, though. That's a ride or die family.
It certainly is, and they're really dying right now. They're not really riding. Samir behind the camera, his brother had ringworm as a high school wrestler. I learned that yesterday.
Survived?
So he did survive. He did
Ringworm
survive.
survivor, love
All
that.
right, as we make our segue to the top 10 ranked fantasy quarterbacks entering the 2022 season, who's your top ranked fantasy quarterback this season? Just give me a name.
Oh, Brett Favre.
All right, we're going to see where he lands on this year's top 10 fantasy quarterback list with Pierce and Julian after this. That's the takeoff, people. Goodbye, Jared. 23 days until the NFL's regular season kicks off. So a Thirsty Thursday clash. That will be when the Bills visit the reigning Super Bowl champion Rams. Sorry to disappoint Jared Carabas, but when Julian Edlow and Pierce Diedrich here ranked the top 10 fantasy quarterbacks this season, Brett Favre looks like he was left just outside the top 10. So you two...
Adam 11.
Yeah, like, damn, we're just doing 10. All right, you two are going to go one by one here until the top 10 is filled out. It's like a draft, but whatever, quarterbacks only. Pierce, I really like you. You and I really bonded yesterday. So you're going to go first. Who do you believe is the top-ranked fantasy quarterback entering the 2022 season?
I hate to break your heart, but I'm not going to take Trevor Lawrence number one. I'm going to go with
you.
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Seems like the pretty obvious pick. He struggled a little bit as a rookie, but then in his second season, he immediately became a superstar. And then over the last 2 years, season 3 and season 4, he's just been phenomenal. 4,500 yards in 2020, 37 touchdown passes, 420 yards rushing. Then he follows that up in 2021 with 4,600 yards, 36 touchdowns, and then basically doubles his rushing yards, going over 700 rushing yards, a handful of touchdowns. he just does everything. He's passing, he's getting passing touchdowns, he's rushing, he's getting rushing touchdowns. You could argue that the addition of Jamison Crowder is definitely an upgrade. They really have not addressed their backfield issues. They don't really have an elite running back. That means they're going to continue to pass and pass all the time. Even when they're up 2 touchdowns, this team doesn't really run the ball. So they just keep passing. They just let Josh Allen do it from whistle to whistle. You just don't get that type of performance from any other quarterback in fantasy.
Yeah, could be the MVP this season. Jules, where are you going at number 2, dude?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Justin Herbert here. I think this is the, if he hasn't already, this is the year that Justin Herbert is going to arrive in this elite threshold of quarterbacks. We saw it towards the end of last year, and I think everybody watched that Sunday night Raiders-Chargers game with playoff position on the line. It went to overtime, and Herbert just made all the big plays. Not that we're drafting a quarterback to win a game here, but we saw what he put on display with his arm, and I think the Chargers are a team that can take a step forward this year. They have the defense to do it, and I think the offense is going to follow suit and win them a lot of games. So you look at last year, he had the 5,000-yard season. He threw 38 touchdowns. Really the difference between he and Josh Allen is just that Allen gets you more on the ground. Allen had nearly 800 yards with the 6 rushing touchdowns. Herbert had 300 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. So I think that Herbert is going to put up similar numbers to Allen, minus some rushing stats and with competitive names that we're going to be talking about with these next upcoming picks. I think that Herbert's going to be the guy that's above them and second to Allen. I also did have Allen number 1.
Yeah, and like Allen, Herbert has a fair chance to win his first MVP soon. So you are up now, Pierce. Top 3. Round us out.
Patrick Mahomes. It's all about the wide receivers. Mahomes is fine. Kelsey's fine. Andy Reid is going to be fine. The line's fine. It's just about these receivers. Well, we look at Juju, and people want to get down on Juju. Yeah, he was injured last season, but he was playing for a not very good team. You rewind the clock to 2020, almost 100 receptions, 800 yards receiving. You back to 2018, 111 receptions for 1,400 yards. He's only 25. There is still a lot of football left to be played in his legs. We could see Hardman step up now that Tyreek's not hogging the ball. And this team could easily transition to being a more of a West Coast offense. It may actually be better. We saw in the playoffs when they couldn't get the ball to Tyreek, they got shut down. They got kind of one-dimensional. Now if Mahomes can spray the ball all across the field, it could be a very interesting, explosive offense. All they really need is Sky Moore to be just average, and you could have an explosive offense. And it's a whole new dynamic. In previous seasons, when we wanted to stack Kansas City, you couldn't do it, or it was really hard to build a lineup when you had to pay for Kelsey and Tyreek Hill and Mahomes. Now with a cheap receiver in the mix, it's going to be tricky to get the right combo, but it's going to be more affordable, makes it more flexible, and we're going to see the Kansas City stack appear more often than we have in previous seasons.
Yeah, going to be adjusting the passing life without Tyreek Hill, but again, it's going to remain a pass-first offense, but just in a wee bit of a different way. Jules, at 4, you're going with a guy who's looking for a fat payday right now.
Yeah, I'm going with Lamar Jackson here at 4, and we're talking about another guy that loses a weapon in Hollywood Brown, just like Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill. But I like what Pierce is saying there a lot. I think, like, even right off the bat, week 1 against a bad Arizona defense, going with that Mahomes, Kelsey, and Juju type of stack, that makes a lot of sense. I think that Baltimore is going to be in a similar position. Mark Andrews is expensive at tight end, but he's going to be a guy that gets just a ton of looks from Lamar Jackson based on what Baltimore has at receiver and based on just how Lamar Jackson plays, going either those shorter routes to Andrews or bombing it downfield. No Hollywood Brown is going to hurt those deep balls from Jackson a little bit, so that's my only concern here. He wasn't even able to get to 3,000 yards last season, but we're looking for a bounce back, more like that 2020 type of year from Lamar Jackson. He only played in 12 games last year, and he almost ran for 800 yards. He's a guy that every year his rushing total is set at 1,000 yards, and I still somehow can't bring myself to bet the under, because unless he misses 5 games like he did last year, he's going to go over. So you get that really safe rushing floor, and then between Andrews and what he has at receiver, he'll figure the rest out and bounce back as a passer. So rushing floor is elite here, really safe, and then the passing game, you kind of figure it out.
All right, Pierce, as we round out the top 5 now, this one, a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. This might be a little bit of a reach, but I'm buying the hype. And, I was down on Philly. I was not a Jalen Hurts believer, but I've looked deeper into the stats, and I've completely changed my mind. I am sold This offensive line is really good. The weapons around him are really good. And even if Jalen Hurts doesn't play very well, he doesn't really have to for fantasy. He just needs to run the ball. And he did that last season with 800 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns. I imagine he's going to run even more. And I really think his passing is better. It's improved. You look at his rookie season, a 50% completion rate. Not good. Last year, that improved to a 60% completion rate. And actually, bad passes, he limited those last season. On target percentage, he was fine. So I think he gets kind of a bad rap. Now, the problem is he has too many bad games, and those bad games stick out. And so he has this reputation, or there's a perception that he's not very good. But, and look, I don't know if I'd want to build my team around him, but in fantasy, like Lamar Jackson, you just cannot pass up on the rushing yards that he's going to give you.
All right, at 6, Jules, you're going with a guy who leads the league in nicknames.
Yes, and this is kind of, I like Jalen Hurts, but this is kind of the first spot where, you know, when we were doing this draft, I was like, I hope Pierce doesn't take Burrow at 5, and he went with Hurts, and I was happy about that. I will go with Burrow over Hurts, and I'm taking him here at 6, and I love the safe floor that a Lamar Jackson and a Jalen Hurts gives you. Burrow's obviously the complete opposite, and we're going all pocket passer here. We got the Super Bowl hangover to deal with. He just had whatever it was, the appendix out, but he's back. There's little knick-knack things that I think can deter you from taking Burrow quite as high as I think he should go. But the bottom line is when you look at the Bengals, they have some of the best weapons in the NFL, that trio of receivers in that they have going on there, highlighted by Chase, who he has that rapport with from LSU, and then the Rookie of the Year award last year. What they did, the only knock, they needed to upgrade that offensive line, and they absolutely did it. They got 3 starting offensive linemen, and they're going to protect Burrow here. So, right or wrong, I'm kind of going to ignore a little bit of the noise here about the step back that Cincinnati could take and just look on paper and say they solved their one big issue, protecting Burrow. Everybody gets a year of experience under their belts. They're kind of feeling themselves after the Super Bowl appearance. This should be a really good offense, and I think Burrow's going to have a fantastic year.
I mean, he has some of the best weapons of any quarterback in the league and could approach 5,000 yards in 2022. Coming up next as we rank our top 10 fantasy quarterbacks entering the 2022 season at number 7. Pierce, you're going with a guy who's on vacation right now.
I'll go with the quintessential pocket passer in Tom Brady. You know, the reason he falls as low as he does is because this is a rushing quarterback sport. And if you want to get points, you got to get yards on the ground. Burrow is great, but the upside, the floor is there with Brady and with Burrow, but they just don't have that huge weak potential because they don't run the ball. But both have tons of receivers. Both are expected to throw the ball all over the field. And I would expect Brady to pass even more than we've ever seen. He didn't come back to hand the ball off. Byron Leftwich is trying to land a premier head coaching job. He's not going to get that by designing draws and off tackle. They've got to put up fireworks. They have to blow up the scoreboard. I would not be surprised at the end of the season to see Brady go over 6K and 60 touchdowns, set single season records. Why not? What else is he here to do? Might as well.
All right, Jules, number 8, a guy who's been studying the playbook.
Yeah, exactly. Kyler Murray, as his contract used to stand, is being forced to study. So that means he wasn't doing it before, and that means he has to get better. So obviously he's a great pick here. But no, he just kind of, I think this is where we start to see the first kind of drop off. There's kind of those elite quarterbacks in the first few picks that we had, a little bit of a drop off. And then here after 7 is where it kind of becomes more open. Like, you could take this guy, that guy. And it was Murray for me because you get the rushing yards. The DeAndre Hopkins suspension is gonna hurt. So maybe a little bit of a slow start where you don't want to play him as much in DFS, or if you're drafting him in season long, there's another guy that you want to take another quarterback shortly after to play more earlier in the season. I don't know, but ultimately, I think between his balance of rushing and passing, he's going to put up a big year. He missed a few games last year. I think maybe this comes off his motivation, the embarrassing part of this, studying that he has to do to have a big season. And he gets a college teammate in Hollywood Brown. We just talked about Lamar Jackson losing him. He gets Hollywood Brown to kind of hook up on some of those deep balls like they did during their time together at Oklahoma. So it should be an explosive offense. It should be a bad defense, meaning that the Arizona offense is going to be keeping up late I think that Kyler Murray has a lot of upside this year.
Pierce, you got a 4-time MVP at number 9 and a dude who just received the green light to keep tripping balls.
Yeah, he dropped a little bit because Devontae Adams is no longer there. So the idea is, well, how has he played in the past without Devontae Adams? You look at last year, get a 1-game sample size. He was okay, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. They won the game. They didn't ask him to do much, and he didn't do much. You go back to 2020, played 2 games without Devontae Adams, had a PFF grade of 89 and 91. Across those 2 games, he threw for 600 yards and 7 touchdowns. No interceptions in any of those contests. I believe Rodgers is going to be fine. Early in the preseason, the passing attack looks pretty good. We haven't even seen Christian Watson yet. If Watson and the other rookie end up performing halfway decent, I think Rodgers will have close to an MVP season. And similar to the Kansas City stack in previous season, it was kind of tough to get Adams and Rodgers together because of the price. Well, now it's going to be tricky to get the right combo, but this is going to be a very flexible stack, and it will create some, I think you're going to see it in the optimal lineup more than you have in the past.
All right, so his top target ends up heading out west. Will now be catching touchdowns from the man Jules is taking at number 10 in the top 10 fantasy quarterbacks. Go ahead, Jules.
Yeah, this one was really open. You got Russell Wilson, you got Dak Prescott, you got Stafford, you got Kirk Cousins. Like, there's a lot of places that you can go here, and ultimately I landed on Carr because I think that this offense is just going to pick it up this year. You got Darren Waller there. You got your possession receiver and Hunter Renfrow. And adding Adams, that's going to be the key piece. And similar to the argument with Murray, I don't think the Raiders have a ton on defense. I think that they're going to be a team, just from a sports betting perspective, that we're looking at a lot of overs. And that's going to mean this Raider offense, which takes a step forward with Josh McDaniels also coming on board to run the show, putting up a lot of points. So between those factors, and the Raiders have been a team I've faded on like the win total the last couple of years, and Derek Carr just keeps being good enough to have me lose my win total bets each year. Maybe some bad luck involved, but you get Devontae Adams on board, you get Josh McDaniels on board, and you have that defense kind of maybe even take a step back. I think this offense is going to put up a lot of points, and I think Carr is going to be kind of the ringleader there. Not to mention, you got Josh Jacobs maybe on the trade block, playing in the Hall of Fame game. How much are they going to run the ball? We know McDaniels didn't run the ball a ton in New England. I think we're going to see a lot of passing here.
All right, one more time, everybody. Your top 10 fantasy quarterbacks for the 2022 season, according to Julian Edlow and Pierce Dietrich, 2 of my favorites. Fantastic work, guys. We have more NFL talk coming up when Chirag joins us in studio for a Rainmakers football update. But first, Steve and Gare do that thing we like and play What's in the Hat after this quick break. It's time for America's favorite baseball game involving me picking names out of a hat. What's in the hat? DraftKings contributor Steve Buchanan and Gare Thorne, come on down. Let's remind the people and ourselves real quick how this works. So we pick a name out of the hat. You two put them in one of 4 categories for the night. And both of you have one pass when you can send the player that you pick to the other analyst, forcing that dude to assign a player to the category. As for what went down last week, Steve won 3 categories. Good job, dude. To Garyon's 2. Braxton Garrett really letting down Garion, or was it more of Garion letting down Garion by putting Braxton Garrett in the 20-plus point category? Bukes, the reigning champ, you're up first. First name is Patrick Wisdom.
Okay, yeah, we're starting off Nice here with the Cubs going up against the Nationals, and Patrick Corbin, our favorite guy to pick on the Nationals, really all the pick on in all of Major League Baseball. But he's got Wisdom's got a lot of pop against left-handed pitching. 267 isolated power, 379 WOBA. Corbin, though, to his credit, is much better at home than he is on the road. He's got a 5.17 ERA at home compared to the 9.44 on the road. So congrats to him on that. But just to show you how bad Corbin has been in the second half of the season, he's pitched 10 2/3 innings. He's allowed 21 earned runs. Let me put Patrick Wisdom in that 10 DraftKings fantasy spot for tonight.
All right, most excellent, my dude. Gare, you're up next. Let's go. Paul DeJong.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Yes, it is.
He's got a pretty good matchup tonight against Kyle Freeland. DeJong has hit lefties pretty well since coming back from the minors. He's 5 for 11 with 2 walks in that pretty small sample size. He's just been good overall since being recalled by the Cardinals. Has a 180 WRC plus since July 30th. So DeJong's been hitting it pretty well. This game isn't in Colorado, which is important, obviously. DeJong probably going to be hitting towards the bottom of the Cardinals order. So even though I like him a little bit tonight, I'm going to put him in that 5 DraftKings point category.
Okay. I love this, by the way. We got the whole points keeper scoreboard thing that Billy made. I'm really proud of him, even though he's not here.
You can always tell when it's Billy. You can always tell when it's the other guy.
Who? Wait. What'd you say, producer Slates? Jay made it. Which Jay is just as talented as Billy. What you're saying is it wasn't Howie, Steve.
Right. I mean, Billy's very talented.
Yes, he is.
I would have said, you could have been like, I made this, and I'd be like, you can always tell when Emerson is making the graphics.
Yes. Yeah. All right, here we go. Rafael Devers, Bukes. That's your boy.
I used that 10 spot already. I mean, it's a great matchup, obviously, tonight. When he's away against right-handed pitching, he's going up against Mitch Keller. 391 WOBA, 302 isolated power with a 155 WRC plus. Keller has struggled against lefties, and everybody should be struggling against Rafael Devers, who's going to be one of the hottest free agents in all of baseball, so they should just pay that man. But 344 WOBA against left-handed pitching. I think this is a good spot for him, but I got to try to play this correctly, so I'm going to put him in the 5 spot. I think he obviously does better than that, but, this is when that game gets tight. Now you got to really be thinking about this. 20 or 0 is what we got left. That's going to be a tough one.
All right. Love it. Next up, Jose Altuve, Gare Bear. That's your dude.
So you know what? I'm going to put Altuve in the 0 DraftKings points category tonight. And
why, is he
this
out of the
really
lineup or
doesn't have
something?
that much to do with Jose Altuve, who's been fantastic. Although, if we're really splitting hairs here, he's got an OPS well above 1,000 against left-handed pitching. It's below 800 against right-handers, and he's facing one of the best right-handers in all of baseball tonight in Dylan Cease. Righties are hitting just 167 and have struck out in 38% of their plate appearances against Dylan Cease. So in a really tough matchup, even an all-star like Jose Altuve can have an off night. He's going in the 0 DraftKings point hole.
Okay, so you both also still have a pass left. Bukes, what do we have? Justin Steele. You're sighing like my dog. Come on, relax.
I mean, there's a lot of good players left, so
Yeah.
I don't want to pass on Steele because he's got arguably such a good matchup tonight against the Washington Nationals, who are one of the worst in the league against lefties. I mean, you're talking about the team numbers here: 292 WOBA and a 92 WRC plus. Both of those are near the bottom of the league. He's already faced this Washington Nationals team. 2 runs on 8 hits through 6 innings, struck out 9 in that one. At 6,200, he's probably one of the best pure value pitchers on this slate. So I'm going to put him in the 20 spot, and wow, I hope I get a real clunker coming up because all I got left is 0.
Yeah,
So that's going to be something there. But I think this is a great spot for him tonight. So
That's absolutely true. But don't forget, again, you have a pass, so you can always take a chance your next turn. Julio Rodriguez. Oh, man, Bukes wanted him. Actually, I don't know if he did. Go ahead, Gare.
I mean, it's a weird sort of spot for Julio Rodriguez. He hasn't been hitting lefties as well as he hit them early on in the season, but his overall numbers are still fantastic. against left-handed pitching. He's got a 134 WRC plus against southpaws. Jose Suarez isn't exactly someone you're worried about. I think, Julio's obviously got the advantage in that particular matchup, but I don't feel good enough about how he's looked since coming off the IL to put him in the 20 DraftKings point category. Only a 70 WRC plus since coming off the IL. Again, super small sample. I'm not worried about Julio Rodriguez in general, but I'm going to tamper expectations to the point where I'm just going to put him at 10 DraftKings points.
Garen, you missed a chance to pass and force Steve to put him in the zero column.
Julio Rodriguez is probably the best option he had left at zero, if I'm being 100% honest.
All right, Buke. So could be your last one if you choose not to pass. Oh, Paul Goldschmidt.
There we go.
Yeah, pass to Gary, and he can take that one.
All right, Gare. So that means you're throwing him in 20-plus points, brother.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Goldschmidt against the left-handed pitcher. That's really all you need to know.
Okay.
He's hitting .432 against southpaws this season. I mean, basically the reason Paul Goldschmidt is the front runner for National League MVP can be boiled down to he's giving left-handed pitchers nightmares this season. I mean, a 383 isolated power, 269 WRC plus against southpaws this season. Anytime he's facing a lefty, I'm more than fine saying he's in line to score 20 DraftKings points. So I'm okay with this. I'll put Goldie up there. That's fine with me.
Okay, Steven, last one here, brother. Let's go.
Crap. Please be Sean Murphy.
It is Sean Murphy. I swear to you,
yes,
I just pulled it
yes.
out. I swear to you, I did, dude.
Yes. It was either going to be Robbie Ray or Dylan Season. It wasn't Sean Murphy.
We needed Steve to put Robbie Ray in the zero DraftKings point category. That's what we needed. I'm very upset.
There is no chance that is happening against the Angels. There is no chance that I would go for zero. I will happily put Sean Murphy in the zero spot tonight against Arihara, who's making his first start of the season for the Rangers there. Murphy's got better numbers against lefties than he does righties. Doesn't have as much pop against righties here, so this isn't the best matchup for him. So I am more than happy to put him in that zero spot. We avoided Ray, we avoided Dylan Cease. Everything is great. This is going to be a good day. This is I might play the lottery now because
we should say Kohei Arihara is awful. He's like the right-handed Patrick Corbin. So Sean Murphy could have a really good night.
I had to justify putting him in the zero spot. That's what I was doing there.
You two are great. I love this game. I love playing with you guys. We are tied on times. We're still going to talk some BMW Championship best bets coming up right after a quick update about Rainmakers football with Chirag. All right, Rainmakers football is the next generation of fantasy football, and you can play it exclusively on DraftKings this season. So Rainmakers is the first ever NFT fantasy football game where you build your roster through NFT pack drops, set your lineup each week, and win all kinds of new NFTs and prizes along the way. And right now, when you download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app, you can claim your free full roster starter pack of officially licensed digital player card NFTs. Do it now. Start building your fantasy franchise. When Rainmakers football today, DK Live manager Chirag Hira is here in studio, and I'm happy you are because big news this week is contests are set to go live on Wednesday, dude.
Yep.
What can you tell us about how these contests will look?
Well, the biggest thing that I can tell you about the contest first, you want to go to the DraftKings to find the contest in the first place. The main details that I can give you right now about the Week 1 contest, Thursday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and the main set all will be available. So you'll be able to use your cards for a showdown contest as well as the main set, which will be a normal lineup. Well, not a normal lineup, it'll be an NFT-based lineup, which will be basically other positions, and then you get to your superstar and then play based on your tier.
All right, I'm picking up what you're putting out. So this week, what kind of pack drops are going down?
Well, the biggest pack drop that we need to think about when coming to the marketplace will be the rookie debut Elevate pack drop. This is huge because this is a kind of way to booster your collection. Right now, it's not available on the DraftKings marketplace, but it will be, and you'll be coming here. It's the Elevate rookie debut drop. So all the players that were drafted in the first round, a lot of wide receivers taken early in this April's draft. So you're gonna want to come here, DraftKings Marketplace, for the Elevate drop.
Yo, Chirag, I know that we also announced a very special promotion this week for our biggest collector. So I need you to tell us a little bit about the Race to 450.
Yep, so a little bit more information on the Race to 450. You can find it fully broken down right here on the NFT tab on DK Nation. So basically, we have a prize pool of 100K that is made. You want to collect up to 450 cards in the DraftKings marketplace, and then based on your rarity tier, you'll be able to see, okay, hey, the cores get a split of 25K, the unique rares get another 25K, then all the elite plus split the 50K. So basically, anybody, doesn't matter what level you're playing at, you have an opportunity to play from all the way at the core level and then elite plus as well.
And I believe we're not just stopping at fantasy football. Like, correct? Like, what other NFT-based fantasy contests are in the works for DraftKings Rainmakers?
Well, the biggest one that you need to know about for this week, DraftKings Rainmakers UFC. That's going to be going down for UFC 279. It's a huge one. You want to get into these packs. There will be 2 packs available, both kind of tiers here. You have the boss pack and you have the rare pack. $19.99 for the rare pack, $199 for the boss pack. More information also available on DK Nation about this UFC Heatwave drop, and you get to see here. Boom. There is going to be a replica belt that you'll also be able to get, including also on top of it, as I showed you the details too, and the utilities listed out here, and the UFC 279 VIP experience. You'll be on the floor. Get all these other additional details. Just come to DK Nation to check out all the information that you will need for the UFC Heatwave drop.
All right, anywhere else besides DK Nation where people can like follow all the latest happenings with DraftKings Rainmakers?
Yes, the biggest spot to go. You need to go to the DraftKings Marketplace Discord. So basically, we have it broken down right here, an announcement section. Right now, we just had recently, our team dropped in today at 11 o'clock. The Heatwave Round 3 drop information. So there's more information easily. If you're unable to catch it on DK Nation and you're sitting in Discord, make sure to go and join the DraftKings Marketplace Discord so you can stay up to date. You can also talk to the people in the Discord right now, talk to them, go back and forth, what's happening, what people are feeling, what everyone is doing. And if you don't know where, you can also get the link from here to join into the DraftKings Marketplace onto the Discord. Just go into any article on DK Nation and you'll be linked right in.
All right, appreciate you, Chirag. You are out, but Jason Sobel is in. Is Willie Z the outright bet to make it the BMW Championship? We will discuss right after this. Yo, Willie Z, man. 3-hole playoff. Finally, whatever. It wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. Zalatoris picking up his first PGA Tour win on Sunday at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. So the 25-year-old moves into the top 10 in the world rankings, and as you just saw, he's now atop the FedEx Cup playoff standings. I mean, this is a guy, Action Network's Jason Sobel, who, man, was always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Lost a couple playoffs like this past year, was close to forcing a playoff. I was at the U.S. Open, but it's good to have you here, dude. So he's plus 1,400 to win this week at the BMW Championship. Second best odds behind Rory. Rory missed the cut. We can talk about him in a second. What kind of result are you comfortable betting on for last week's champion, Will Zalatoris?
Okay, so first things first, Emerson. You're just jumping right into this thing, but I gotta tell you, no Ulrich, no Fowler. This is just it's luxurious. It's when Kramer opened up the lanes on the highway and you had more room to drive. I mean, I picked something up for those guys in Memphis.
Yeah.
If you can see the whole thing.
Hush, y'all.
Hush, y'all. So that's specifically just for them. I'll hold on to that until the next time they're back on the show.
Dude, I'm actually glad you brought up the Kramer thing, because did you see the U.S. Amateur pairing? It's like Kramer, Newman, and who's the other one? I can't even remember.
Costanza.
Yeah,
Costanza's
Costanza.
6 back after the first round. Kramer and Newman are 6 ahead of Costanza. So
Okay, all right.
update for you.
All right, awesome. Sorry, yeah,
Very well
I'm
Very well done.
jumping all over the place. But yeah, talk to me about Willie Z. What are you comfortable betting with him this week? Because we had one of our analysts on yesterday, and he's like, dude, I'm going all for it. Colin Sherwin. He thinks he's going to win this week.
Yeah, I don't hate it this week whatsoever. I like him. There's a whole bunch of guys at that plus 1,400 number. It looks like Rory McIlroy enlisted as the favorite, and then you basically just take every big name player and throw them in a tie for second place on the board. Only 68 players in the field this week, so obviously probability is higher that you can actually have a top finish this week. I like Zalatoris. Look, once the lid is off, I don't necessarily believe in floodgates. I've said for years there are no floodgates in the game of golf. When someone wins for the first time, we always say, oh, maybe the floodgates will open. And then all of a sudden, Zalatoris' buddy, Scotty Scheffler, they're playing together this week. He sort of opened up the floodgates earlier this year, so he kind of proved me wrong. Maybe there are some floodgates out there, and maybe they open up for Will Zalatoris this week.
All right, so this week's favorite, you got Rory. He missed the cut last week. I mean, he looked like he had taken some time off from playing golf and spent some time, I believe, in London with his family. Scotty Scheffler, same thing. So which one do you expect to bounce back the performance from? Or would you prefer to shy away from both these big dogs?
I'll probably shy away, at least in the betting marketplace. I think in DFS, there's a nice little interest in both these guys because there are only a few times during the year, Emerson, when we see all the best players together on back-to-back weeks. That's what we're getting this time around. And so I think there's going to be a serious recency bias where everyone looks at the guys who played well last week. They fade the guys who didn't play well and missed the cut. And maybe you throw Rory and Scotty Scheffler into a handful of matches. As far as the betting marketplace, though, at Rory at the favorite this week and Scotty can I see Rory win? I can see Rory winning any single week that he tees it up. So, yeah, certainly it could work for him. But no, he's not going to be on my card at that number.
I mean, Rory was all over the place with his driver last week. I believe he lost more than a stroke off the tee to the field. And, you know, Scotty losing almost, 2 strokes to the field, putting? 2 important sticks in the bag.
Yeah, it wasn't good for either of those guys. Look, but this is what separates the great players in the game from the next tier. The next tier of players, they need a few weeks to figure it out, to get it back. Guys like this, they can just kind of snap their fingers, flip the switch, whatever cliche you want to use, and they all of a sudden figure it out and start playing better golf again. If I am going into that level, by the way, if I'm going up to a guy who's got a short number, John Rahm is the guy that I like, tied for 5th place last week and never really looked like he had anything better than his B-plus game. He was good tee to green, still around the greens, and the putter was just average.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even need to get hot with the putter. He needs to get lukewarm with the putter, and he can go win one of these things. Could happen this week.
Yeah, his game seems to be trending in the right direction. Speaking of that next tier, so Zalatoris was plus 3,500 last week to win, right? So who is someone you are eyeing with similar odds to potentially pull it out this time around at the BMW Championship?
Yeah, so a little shorter than that. And again, fewer players in the field. The numbers are just going to be collectively shorter this week. Colin Morikawa looking still right around plus 2,000.
Yeah.
Sungjae Im right around the same number as him. I like Sungjae a lot. 2 runner-up finishes and a 12th place in his last 3 starts. And then I'll look at Joaquin Niemann, I believe still at plus 3,500, right at that number that we're looking at for Zalatoris last week. And Niemann's a guy who can get hot in a hurry as well, really good ball striker. Remember, Wilmington Country Club, they're in Delaware this week for the first time. We know almost nothing about it. It's a long golf course, more than 7,500 yards. But in my mind, I look at it very much like Caves Valley last year. Going into the BMW Championship, we looked at that host venue for the first time and said, it's a long course, might play pretty tough. 27 under got you into a playoff last year. And so I do think that the PGA Tour tends to err on the side of caution when it comes to putting new venues into the rotation. I don't think it's going to play as hard as some people seem to think.
Yeah, I saw you writing up a little bit of an article you tweeted out about an hour ago with Colin in there, Sungjae M. Also, your headshot is like way too professional. But talk long shot. Are we going with Sahith Theegala?
Yeah. I mean, why jump off now? I mean, look, I interviewed the kid on the radio, on PGA Tour Radio, Sirius XM, on my show Hitting the Green last week. And when he walked away, I turned to my co-host, Michael Collins of ESPN fame, and I looked at him and I said, if you knew nothing about golf, if you were just sitting here the entire day and saw 120 players walk past, you would point to Sahith Theegala and go, that dude's the best player in the world, right? He carries this confidence. He carries this aura. He carries this swagger. When he walks past, he looks like a guy who's ready to go out there and win. Love the fact that Sahith was right there congratulating Will Zalatoris after the victory the other day. Look, karma works in a lot of different ways. I could see it for him. And then the other 2 guys, not necessarily long shots, although kind of long in this field. I've been hitting them every single week, and I don't want to stop now. Keith Mitchell, Aaron Wise, every week they're a play for me until the value drops.
All right, Jag, we'll get you out of here with this. Your pick to win the BMW Championship. Hook me up.
So I believe I went Will Zalatoris 2 weeks in a row, jumped off him, and he won.
Yeah.
How's that for some karma?
Wait,
right
are you back?
No. Point is, I went with Colin Morikawa last week.
Yeah.
He played some of his best golf, finished in 5th place, made way too many bogeys the first 2 days, cleaned it up on the weekend. The putter still needs to get a little bit better. Going to bent grass greens instead of Bermuda greens should help him. I love Colin Morikawa. I don't think he goes through the entire season without a single victory. He's the only player in the top 16 on the world ranking right now who hasn't won a trophy at some point somewhere in the world this year. It's going to happen. I like it to happen this week. And I love when I pick a guy the week before and he doesn't win and then I jump off him. So I'm not going to jump off. I'm just going to stay on him.
All right, baby. Colin Morikawa plus 2,000. Jason Sobel's pick to win the BMW Championship. Good catching up with you, man. Make sure you keep the hush y'all sign for next week when like Reed or Jeff do return, okay?
I got it.
All right, everyone. That's a show. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're back here live in studio tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock Eastern time. Don't forget to watch the slate tonight, 5 o'clock Eastern time. We got Samir Dahouk producing behind the scenes.